Sure. The Last of Us Season 2 teaser. I could not be more excited to watch this. I don't know if you guys have seen my Last of Us reaction or watched me play through The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2, but like, mama, holy shit. I can't tell you how much I love The Last of Us, the game, playing the game The Last of Us. Unfortunately, it, I think, maybe ruined me for other games. I did have a bit more time and I was like really working to fit in gaming, but that game, I was also like, I'd started watching the show a little bit, so that got me engaged on a story level. And so seeing as a writer, like how the things were different in the show from in the game, like as I was playing the game a little bit behind the show, was such a fantastic way to dissect the story. And then I started playing The Last of Us 2. I was very excited to play The Last of Us 2. I can't remember if I knew about I don't know who's watching this or what your deal is, so I'm not gonna be too explicit. Yes, I will. I will be explicit with those details because I'm assuming that if you're on this channel, you're a gamer, you've played The Last of Us 2, and if you hadn't, you've known all this stuff anyway. So I can't remember if I knew whether or not Joel died, but I'm pretty sure I knew that, but not the switch, the playing as Abby. And I don't think I knew that Abby killed him because I loved playing as Abby in the beginning. Like my first little bit playing as Abby, oh, that was so fun. She was so fun to play as. I loved it. And I just think if we had a full story from her perspective, those of you who have watched my other trailers or other gameplay stuff about this or watched my reaction to the show, you know all this already. If we had had a full story, a full, complete story from Abby's perspective first, if that was The Last of Us 2, was a story about a different group of people in the same space, in the same issue, zombie mushroom land, and then at the end of the second game, she's like, I found. And then the third game is game 2. Dramaturgically, it would have made so much more sense. Even if we just had her complete story first, we don't know who she's running from, and then we flip to Ellie and we learn she's running from us. Like, so much, makes me so angry about the second game. So needless to say, I'm very excited to watch season 2 of the show. And let's get into it. Thank you so much to my channel members. I will be doing some arcane stuff in the near future and I'm gonna be re-uploading some stuff. So all the re-uploads are gonna be very, very early. Thank you everybody who has subscribed to my newsletter. If you did, you saw the what it looks like here from the other side of the camera, from my perspective. It looks like shit, guys. I'm still figuring it out somehow. And so Fern Gully now is over here hiding the carbon monoxide detector, although it is very important to have one of those. And I decided to move my sign to be friends instead, because my fat head was in the way. And also these are my books.
It's not possible. I shook my head. It is, he encouraged. I'm not I started. You are, he assured. Vampire. Blood, Kin, and Curses. Written by H.S. Paisley.
I'm ready. I'm thirsty. Are you dehydrated? That's my other channel. No. I don't know how this show is gonna survive without Pedro Pascal. Okay, 2 minutes only, and I'm sure I'm gonna talk so much more than I've already talked. Catherine O'Hare? Oh, he looks pleased. Ooh. Okay. Oh my God. I can't tell you how much I hated playing the guitar in this fucking game. I didn't want to play no guitar. I want to keep it moving. I want to get the bad guy. And I had to play as the bad guy. It was hard.
Let's try something different. You can't heal something unless you're brave enough to say it out loud.
It looks just like the game, which is cool, even though I hate the second game.
Say the thing you're afraid to say.
Okay.
Say
Oh,
it.
I loved him!
What it is, no matter how bad.
Jesse, right? Ooh. Mushroom monster.
What did you do?
What did you do? He's going to therapy. Oh, is that Abby? I'm gonna tell you right now, I do not want to play the second game again to remember all of the story beats, but I might angrily. No, I won't. I wouldn't do that to myself. I'll watch somebody else play. Right, yeah, I remember you guys. Ugh. I don't want to play the second game again to remember all this. Oh, so we didn't really see Abby? Was that Abby? Do I have to look it up now? Okay. So for people who haven't played the game, that looks real great, you know? Like I'm into it. I feel like I need to watch like a trailer breakdown. Let's find one of those. Okay, looks fantastic. Okay, looks fantastic. But did you like the game?
This day, which means we're going to be getting updates and things from the Naughty Dog team for the rest of the day. So far, we haven't gotten much, but we have got the big thing that I really felt was going to happen today, and that is this new trailer for season 2, and it is absolutely freaking incredible.
Like, yeah.
And so I want to break it down with you guys. Let's go through this.
I just hate the second game.
We're gonna go through it slow and kind of take a glimpse at this whole thing a little bit.
Let's
more
do that,
in
please.
depth.
Help
So
me.
let's dive
Help
into
me.
it. So here we go. Opening shot. Of course, many people thought that this woman was going to be Joel's girlfriend from the game that got cut. Turns out, nope. There was another theory going around that it was possibly his therapist. Of course, Joel in that first season clearly has PTSD, so it makes sense that he was going to see someone to try to help.
Oh, this is a past
with
therapist?
that.
No way. This is. Oh. He was going to a therapist like during the first game? No way. Or in between the two games. He could have been going to a therapist in between the two games, and that's why everything's like ratty here. Like we see this ratty arm of the chair, and she's using the kitchen timer. Like that's not. Is that what he's saying?
For him to do basic things, and so I would imagine that he wants to deal with that PTSD, and it looks like here he's seeing a counselor essentially to try to help with that. And then we get this great shot of Ellie coming out into Jackson.
That must have been a counselor in Jackson.
Incredible. Again, the locations for this
Yeah,
show
it does.
are absolutely
It does. It's great.
Stunning. It just looks so good. And then we get a nice little glimpse at Joel's house. He's got his own mailbox.
They can't even close the mailbox. What's this guy doing?
There. I assume that this is actually from when Joel inevitably, spoiler alert, passes away, and Ellie and Dina go and visit his home. And here we get a great shot of Joel giving Ellie her guitar for the first time. You can see that Ellie's really into grunge. She loves Nirvana and other things like that. Which brings me to a point that I have. So this show is supposed to take place in 2003. That's when the outbreak was supposed to happen, 10 years before the actual in-game one, which was 2013.
Right.
I don't know what they're going to do with this Pearl Jam song because they put it in the trailer, but that song didn't release until
I love when people are this
2014,
nitpicky.
but they were playing it live in 2013, and so Neil Druckmann has said that Joel was actually at a live Pearl Jam concert and heard it and remembered it and learned it. And so I'm not sure what they're going to do with this song, because technically if the outbreak did happen in 2003 in this Walking Dead HBO universe, this song didn't exist, but it seems like they're going to be using it. So that
is so interesting, thinking about like what does and does not exist and what you can and can't use. That is so fascinating, because maybe the song was still written, right? But it would have never gotten, it might not have been exactly the same. It might just have been an acoustic version. It might not have been a collab. Like, I don't know. That's a fascinating thought. I hadn't really thought about that before.
That wouldn't cause backlash. But that was one of the reasons why when they made it 2003, I was like, that's a dumb thing to do, because that makes the song not make any sense. But that's just a little fun fact.
That's a dumb thing to do.
And it's great. Things seem happy, and we know that they're not going to be happy for long. That smiling face isn't going to stay on Joel. Get another shot of what's probably Abby looking down at Jackson with Owen.
Yeah, I thought that
this
too.
Iconic scene from the game where Ellie and Dina are in Seattle.
I hated Dina. Also, Dina, actually, I'm just going to wait for him to finish his thing before I make a comment on this Dina.
Sing and actually play guitar, and was before this show, and so that's really great. She's actually a pretty good singer. Then
are you going to talk about Dina?
Porch.
No, you're not going to talk about Dina. Okay. Is Dina too pretty? She's so beautiful. This person who's playing her is so beautiful. not to say, I know the game wasn't she based on a real person? I don't know what that person looks like, but this person is more conventionally attractive than the Dina of the game. And that's not necessarily a good or a bad thing. Like, I don't really care, but this person is very beautiful, and everybody in the game looked real, you know? And I feel like in season 1 as well, for the most part, everybody looked like a real person. Not that she's not a real, of course she's a real person, but you know what I mean, right? Like, she's stunning.
For this show, and so that's really great. She's actually a pretty good singer. Then we get Joel on the porch. Oh,
Yeah.
the scene. And so it looks like we're going to be getting those flashbacks earlier in the show.
Well,
I
no
imagine
shit,
that
they
the
gotta
first
keep
episode is
people
actually going to
going.
be the aftermath of all that happens by the looks of it, because it looks like
Yeah.
at least this flashback, which is supposed to happen at the end of the game, actually happens at the beginning of this show. Then we get our first shot of Jesse. He looks
I think that they're gonna have to put Pedro Pascal like really consistently through the entire thing. In a similar way that all of the episodes, or most, if I'm remembering correctly, of the episodes of season 1 all had an opening of some kind of a flashback. I wouldn't be surprised if season 2 followed that same model to keep Pedro Pascal in every episode of the show throughout. And if that's the first one, okay. But I don't necessarily agree that that looks like it. It has to be super early. I think it could be at any point in the show, because I think as soon as he disappears, people are going to be, they're going to be sad. They're going to shed a tear.
It's really great. The actor that they got is really awesome. And then a great shot here of Ellie putting her knife in the sink. I imagine that's in Seattle in the theater. Then we get Tommy
Yeah.
looking at what I'm pretty sure is a horde coming towards Jackson.
Yeah.
It's going to be a pretty big action sequence. And then another shot here of this stalker just creeping out on Ellie. And dude, this is so creepy. And of course, his therapist again. And then finally, we get our first glimpse at Caitlin Dever as Abby. This is obviously her at her father's grave by the looks of it, and
Oh,
setting
so she's
up
a
what we know is going to be coming, and it's gonna be.
One thing that I did love about Abby is that she was friggin' jacked. Like, she was so strong, so physically strong. And I felt like weird association here, but if you've seen Encanto, the character, I think her name was Luisa, I absolutely hate that character. I hate her so much because jacked women aren't shaped like that. But jacked women, many of them, are shaped like Abby. And I know it's a child's cartoon animated movie versus a video game for adults. I don't care. Women are very rarely built like a Dorito, if ever. And I really liked how Abby looked. I didn't need to see her having sex, but with the exception of that, I loved how she looked. And this woman looks smaller than that. And I hope I am wrong.
Not great for our friends Joel and Ellie, but she looks great. And then here, this is that horde that I've been talking about.
I mean, she
coming
looks great,
towards
but like
Jackson. It's
I
going to
want
be
the-
a massive action sequence, I think, in the very.
I want the guns!
Essentially just kicking butt with these things, and so you get a person who's on the Jackson Outlook looking at that. But then, of course, they're kind of making you second guess that that's what it is, and then they have this horde coming towards Abby like it did in the game, and so this massive horde is a problem for that whole first episode.
I don't
think.
remember that.
And this looks great, and then of course Joel shows up.
Oh,
and then
right.
here we
Very
have,
early
I'm not
on.
sure who.
Yeah.
I assume it's Abby and Joel and Tommy riding away, and then we get a first look at the scars, which is really interesting.
Yeah.
This makes me think that the show is going to take place over Ellie's first 3 days. I could be wrong about that, but scars don't appear in Ellie's story until much later. And so,
I really hope they integrate the two stories way more. Like that we learn that it's not one story and then the other story. We're doing both at the same time. So though they might not show up in Ellie's story very early, like Abby knows about them all the time, right? So I think for her, I think it could still show up early in the show, because I want it to be, I hope that we get them mixed more than we did in the game. And I get the dramaticness of what happened in the game, even though it was stupid and it should have been the other way around. But I really hope the show does not do that. I want the show to make Abby empathetic, from the beginning. I want them to change her father a little bit too, to make him more empathetic as well. I would really love, it's just such a small fix, and I've talked about this before on the channel, or maybe my other channel, but I don't understand why they didn't do it. All that had to happen in the second game is that, for me at least, to care about Abby and her dad, is that he's about to cut into Ellie, and he puts his scalpel down and he goes, I can't do it. And then bang! Joel comes in and gets him, because then I feel bad for him. But in the game, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna kill this kid. Fuck you, man, that's my friend. No.
My guess is that this first season is Ellie's first 3 days, and then the second season will be Abby's
I
first
hope
3
that's not
days,
accurate.
And then the third season will be the aftermath, and they're reuniting. I don't know that for sure, but I imagine that that's what they're actually going to do, which is a bold choice that they're deciding to give Abby her own season. I guess for other people, it would seem like it's the Penguin. It might not have that same feeling as the game where you're like,
they can't do that.
I do not want to watch this character. I don't want to play as her. I feel like it feels different to play as someone that you hate versus watching, because even when The Walking Dead did a few episodes on the governor, that never felt like, oh my goodness, I can't believe they're making me watch the governor in a way that the game did. So that seems to be what they're doing. And then this is where the trailer gets dark, where you see this body just being dragged along the ground, this man being tortured by Isaac, which is interesting.
Isaac.
I wonder how they're going to show us a glimpse of this. Maybe they do go back and forth between Abby and Ellie, but I just don't see much footage of Caitlin Dever. Then the Horde attacking
but
Jackson.
I think not seeing much footage of Abby might also be for the non-game people, because if they don't know what she does or who she is, then you have more opportunity to slowly introduce her, especially if you're mixing up the timeline. So I'm hoping that that's why we don't see much of her.
People on fire, Maria and Tommy.
Ouchie.
We see the Wolf Gang coming in after Ellie. We get that awesome, iconic shot of.
Do I remember that?
Through the basement with all the red and everything, and it looks so freaking good. And then we get Ellie freaking out. I do think that this is her waking up, and spoiler alert again, where she wakes up and after being knocked out, and she actually wakes up beside Joel. She's in the hospital and is able to see him and just freaks out. That's my guess. And then we get a great shot here of Pedro Pascal just dropping the tear, and then
dropping the tear.
Dude, this looks so good. I've just got to be honest. Like, my hype for this thing has now gone through the roof.
I think it looks fantastic. I'm just stressed.
But I want to know what you guys think, so head into the comment section down below.
Meet me in this guy's comment section too. Who's this guy? Pixel 8 Ted. Bro, I hope you're okay with me reacting and having a chat with your video here. What's the last few things you say? Thoughts.
Did this trailer live up to the hype? For me, it did. I think that this looks absolutely incredible. HBO is doing such a good job with this TV show, and it looks like we are in for a real treat for season 2. I cannot wait. I simply cannot.
Oh man, I really liked this game. Oh, the charges! That was fun.
All that junk.
Yeah.
I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah. That was great. That was great. Thanks, Pixelate Ted. That was sick. And thank you guys for making it to the end of this video. Please comment on Pixelate's stuff. Comment on my stuff. Let's all have a big chat about this. I'm super excited about this show. And yeah, we'll get back to some arcane stuff next week. And I hope you guys are all happy and healthy, taking care of yourselves and each other. And as always, until next time, may the force be with you. Live long and prosper. And I'll be back.